Alright, happy Wednesday everyone. So today we're going to start a weaving project. I haven't woven anything in a hot minute. But this is one of my Maryland submissions from last year. It won first place, and I'm gonna make a scarf with it and use these two yarns for the warp and then incorporate this into the weft. And I'm not entirely sure how I'm gonna weave this weft-wise, but in the warp I'm gonna do a main background of this white with pinstripes of this charcoal brown wool in every like inch or so. So I'm gonna make the warp and then we're gonna put it on the loom and just sort of have fun with it. This yarn is really fun, and I think I just wanna showcase all the fun like loops and fibers that are happening in this skein. So without further ado, I'm gonna make this warp and then we'll put this on the loom. Okay, this is our warp. You guys seen me make warp plenty of times, so I didn't need to show you that. But as you can see, we have the sections of white split with these stripes of the charcoal gray in between. So I'm gonna go ahead, take this off, and bring it downstairs to the loom. Okay, so as you can see, I've warped and threaded everything, and I've put a header on just to spread everything out evenly, and now I'm gonna go ahead, wind some bobbins, and let's start weaving. All right, now that I have everything together, I'm ready to weave. Now, I did do some fun stuff with the warp and how I'm gonna, go about this project, and I do think there are gonna be some different creative decisions made along the way. So I'm gonna get weaving, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. So just to kind of recap, this scarf is it's a fairly simple warp. It consists of this Jaeger spun white 100% merino wool, and then this charcoal gray is some of my own hand spun that I actually don't remember the fibers, so it's a mystery yarn from my stash, but it is my hand spun, I can tell you that. And essentially what I've done is I've threaded all the white on shafts 1 and 4, and it's just plain weave. It just goes your basic tabby weave, and then for the charcoal, I actually decided to thread it individually on shaft 3 so that I can sort of raise these strands on top of the warp or leave it down below just to sort of play. And I'm hoping that'll give us some really fun effects with, warp floats and, just so that we have this sort of textural portion on the surface aside from the weft yarn that has this, which is also my hand spun, which is Targhee, and I do not remember the fiber content of the locks. This is a skein of yarn that I submitted for Maryland last year, and it's gonna hopefully this scarf is hopefully gonna get sent in for Maryland Sheep and Wool this year. So I'm trying to get this done quickly, but I am, like I said, I'm going to try to play around with, the charcoal on warp floats and, just have fun with it, because the scarf really is really going to be a textural piece in my opinion. So yeah, let's have some fun. As you can see, I've done a little bit. I'm definitely still trying to find that ratio of how much white to include in between the two different colors and, dealing with 3 different shuttles. But I think it's gonna work. So I'm just gonna continue weaving. I have woven about 1 inch with the warp float up, so now I think I'm gonna switch for the warp float to be under. So we're gonna continue weaving and see where this takes us. And because I want to keep these charcoal threads up for extended periods of time, I am using a pickup stick to just sort of hold them above the white warp so I don't have to press the shaft to keep them up every single time I want them above the white warp. Now, as you can see, this did take some troubleshooting, but by the end of doing this entire scarf, I got the hang of it, and it started to become pretty smooth. Alright, so I've done a good amount. We're almost one rotation around the Alright, so I've done a little bit. We're almost one full rotation around the clock beam here. But I've figured out at this point the best way to sort of work this out, and I'm no longer working with 3 shuttles at a time, which thank goodness, because that was really much a hassle. But I've sort of just continuously been doing this pattern of sort of 1 inch of this white with the charcoal stripe, and then 2 arbitrary inches of the art yarn with the charcoal on top. So I think this is how we're going to weave the rest of it, although I am playing Yarn Chicken with the white. I don't have that much left, so I'm thinking for the middle section I'll do the inverse of these stripes, so basically charcoal with a white stripe, and then for maybe the last third of the scarf I will revert back to this, but I want to salvage this white yarn as much as possible just so I don't run out and be stuck with losing Yarn Chicken, because that would be really disappointing. So I'm going to continue weaving, and I'm switching to this stripe now, so I'm going to use the charcoal and the white inverted stripe instead of the white with the charcoal. So I'm going to continue weaving, and let's see how this goes. Hello, so Editing Kai here. I ended up weaving half or the rest of the scarf with that inverted charcoal version of the stripes just because I actually didn't have enough warp left to weave another third with the white, so it ended up turning out fine, as you'll see later in the video when I actually finish the scarf, but I ended up not doing another third after that, so let's get back to it. So here's charcoal with white stripe, and honestly, I'm not hating this, so who knows, maybe we'll continue with this for the rest of the scarf, but I do think that would be nice to have some sort of symmetry with the scarf, so we've like just revert back to this. But again, this scarf is just playing around, we're just having fun with this, so whatever happens, happens. So let's keep weaving and let's see what happens. now about 3 months after I finished this scarf. I finally got around to finishing it. So the wool I used to spin the yarn for the scarf was actually really greasy, so I had to wash all the grease out, and then I let it dry, and also I twisted the fringes, and here is the finished scarf. So thanks for tagging along in this little art yarn weaving experiment of mine, and I hope to see you in the next video, and keep yarning. Bye!